Hi, I'm Corey. Um, I had very severe, or the edge of very severe ME for a while, and I have now recovered to nearly moderate at this point. I still need a wheelchair to get outside the house, but most of my videos are directed at other people with CFS ME to help them, but I wanted to do a message to friends, family, doctors, or people who might not understand what it's like. Um, the important thing to understand is that what it's like can change minute to minute. How bad a person feels changes minute to minute. It's not just day to day. And that if someone can do something in the morning, it doesn't mean they can do it an hour later. And you have to understand that. The other big thing to understand is that when we crash, it's not only terrible and, we feel horrible when we're crashed and it's a bad experience for however long it lasts. For some, it's a couple days. For some, like me, I would crash for a month at a time. It's not just that crashing sucks. I was a competitive gymnast. I know what hard workouts and pushing through your pain feels like. It's a different level. And the reason is that you don't just pay for it in the short term, you pay for it in the long term. Every crash makes you worse. This means that what you might have as your crash, in whatever that is, for me it looked like lying in bed in the dark because light and sound and motion were all unsustainable to my brain. Like someone walking outside my door would set my brain on fire and it would be a raging headache and I'd feel like, you wanted to die just from a small sound. And I'd have to crawl to the bathroom and I'd have to crawl in stages. So that was my crash. But some people, it's, it depends on how mild or severe you are. But I had one crash that took me from mild to severe in a single day. That is what a crash can cost you. So you can go from being able to work, able to ski, able to do things with your kids, and just feeling periodically tired, a little off, to being bedbound and not being able to lift your arms in a day from pushing it too much. So when you ask somebody to push themselves, when they're saying, I can't handle X thing, that's what you're asking. You're asking them to risk their living, not their life as in dying, but you're asking them to risk their life as in what they can do with their life. And that can be a conversation, or watching a movie together can be too much for somebody. It depends on the person. It depends on the day. If they change plans on you because, if you make plans with somebody and they say, I can't do it today, don't take it personally. It's not you. It's not your relationship. It's that they can't do it or it will cost them too much and they don't even know what they'll lose next. It's like having a debit card that's your only source of money, and you know that it doesn't have enough money to do all the things you need, and you don't know how much is on it. And so whatever you do costs, like sitting up costs, watching a movie costs, doing a load of laundry costs. Whatever it is that you can do, it costs you. Like a trip to the kitchen to get a glass of water costs. But it might be, if you're milder, it might be, cleaning the house is an enormous cost. Whatever it is, it costs you. And then you don't know what the bill is going to be. You don't know when you're going to be overdrawn. And if you're overdrawn, you crash. And if you crash, then you can risk getting that much worse. A lot of people get worse a little bit at a time by having little crashes all the time, just pushing a little bit too much all the time. And they gradually get worse, and so they think this is a progressive disease. It doesn't have to be. And some people, like me, crash all in one day. to becoming very severe. I was on the edge of very severe. I wasn't solidly very severe. The very severe generally need bedpans and feeding tubes and can't tolerate any noise or breathing or anything. So you don't hear from those people generally because they can't even text you. Or texting is a monumental effort at that point. And conversations are out of the question. So when you see your friend or your patient or whatever, it is their best day. You are seeing them at their very best. And it can be hard to imagine what their worst day is like. Trust me, they have a worst day and it looks terrible. You see them on their best day and they're like, oh, they can do this and they can do that. They can do that right now for like, the next 5 minutes or the next hour or however long it is. That's it. Don't judge them based on what you see when you're seeing them, because you're seeing them at their very best. Anything that you can do, any little thing that you can do to spare some of their energy, whether it's you going to them, you visiting and picking up a few things while you're, at the grocery store on your way, or, picking up a few things around the house while you're visiting, or, whatever. Those things make all the difference in the world. They are amazing. They help so much. If you can pick up childcare, if you can, if the person is in bed that day, if you can bring them the food in bed, whatever you can do. If they're more mild, just like helping them with yard work or something that's more laborious. That people who are sick, we try to do things that we shouldn't be doing because we want to be normal. We want to be able to do the things that we really can't do. And for a minute we can, but it costs. So we can't. That's the thing. You can do something that, if this is your envelope, you can go over your envelope, but you will crash. And so it doesn't count. The stuff out here that you can do, you can't really do. That's the important thing to understand. They can do stuff to here. It's better to stay just inside your envelope. And you need to help them protect that space, to stay just inside their envelope at all times. And if they manage to stay just inside their envelope and spend some time like in the lower end of their envelope so that they can recover from being out here, they might improve. I have in the last year and a half, almost 2 years now, my medication hasn't changed, but I have continued to improve, and I attribute this to successfully not crashing for that whole period of time. You don't have to crash in this disease. You can live within your envelope and avoid crashing and hopefully improve. That's not a guarantee that they improve, but what it is that that if they crash, they will get worse. That is a guarantee. So at best you're helping them, at worst you're helping them stay where they are, and at best you might be helping them get better. But you also have to understand that people with this disease here, they're crazy, they're lazy, they're faking it, they're being dramatic. They hear that all day long from every source, from doctors, from friends, from family. People get abandoned by their husbands or their wives, or their parents. Because people don't understand this illness, and they don't want to believe that this could happen to anyone, and suddenly you're incapable of doing so many things. People don't want to believe that that's possible, but it is, and that's where we are. And we need your support as family and friends. We need you to believe us when we say what we can't do. We need you to support us in not crashing and in treatment. And to be understanding of what we can't do. We want to live full lives, believe me. But if we can't make that picnic or whatever it is, we can't. And we need you to know that. So thank you. Try to help your loved one or your patient.